Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing fine. I'm here again with my new video on the new topic, that is communication. So, this topic is of the subject communication, employability, and resource development skill of B.Ed fourth semester. So, let us start. What is communication? In general terms, we all know that communication means to communicate our feelings, to convey our feelings, our thoughts to another person, right? So, the term communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. In general, communication refers to the reciprocal exchange of information, ideas, facts, opinions, beliefs, feelings, and attitudes through verbal and non verbal means between two people or within a group. So, I guess we have the clear meaning of communication, that whenever we exchange our opinions, our ideas, our thoughts to somebody else, but with a medium that can be verbal or non-verbal, that is called communication, right? So let us go through the concept of communication. Communication is fundamental to the existence and survival of humans as well as to an organization. It is a process of creating and sharing ideas, information, views, facts, feelings, etc. among the people to reach a common understanding. Communication is the key to directing function of institute. So we can say that in any kind of institution such as our college, any other institution like hospital, communication is the key element. Without communication, nothing can survive. If there will be no communication between the individuals of an organization, then how can the work be done? So, a person may be highly qualified and skilled, but if he does not possess good communication skills, all his abilities become irrelevant. A person must communicate his directions effectively to the subordinates to get the work done from them properly. If we say a head of institution is highly qualified and he is very much skilled, but he doesn't know how to instruct his subordinates, how to guide them, then how can his organization will work smoothly? So, any head of any institution must be a good communicator also. Meaning of communication: a process through which individuals mutually exchange their ideas, values, thoughts, feelings, and actions with one or more people. The transfer of information from the sender to the receiver so that it is understood in the right context. Please note that there are main two persons in the process of communication. One is sender and the other one is receiver. The process of initiating, transmitting, and receiving information, the means of making the transfer of information productive and goal oriented. Whatever you are communicating, that must be productive and that must be goal oriented. The process of sharing information, ideas, and attitudes between individuals. So, right now I'm having some definitions with me of communication. Communication is a way that one organization member shares meaning and understanding with another, according to Kuntz and O'Donnell. Next one is according to Keith Davis. Communication is the process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. So the main thing in both of the definition is that transfer of ideas, transfer of information, plus understanding is the main thing here. Until and unless the receiver will not understand the message, the communication will not be successfully imparted, right? The next definition is of Louis A. Allen. Communication is the sum of the things one person does when he wants to create understanding in the mind of another. It is a bridge of meaning. It involves a systematic and continuous process of telling, listening, and understanding. So basically, what he is trying to convey is that communication is a collection of things. While communicating our views, there are several things that are going on in our mind. So communication is the sum total of all those things. It is just a medium to the meaning. It acts just like a bridge. And it also involves a systematic and continuous process. There is no gap. It is a continuous process of telling, listening, and understanding. Right? So, in brief, we can say communication is what? It is the process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feeling, emotions, etc. And through many mediums, through speech, signals, writing, behavior. So I guess you all have understood the meaning of communication. Okay, so I proceed further. Now let us discuss the features of communication. What is the importance of communication? Why it is necessary in our professional as well as in our personal life? The first one is communication is necessary and required in all managerial functions. Managerial functions. Try to understand this word. It means we are talking about any official setup. However, it is an integral part of the directing process and assumes greater significance at the directing stage. So, we are talking about an official setup. We are talking about an institute where communication must be there. If you want to give directions, if you want to give instructions to your subordinates, to your colleagues, then communication is the main thing that can be found here. Communication is a function of every manager. Hence, it is a persuasive managerial function. All managers would have to make necessary communications to their subordinates and get a feedback to their communications from the latter. So it is the duty of manager, or we can say it is the duty of the head of any institution, that the communication circle goes on and on. If we want to ensure the good quality of work, he must have the feedback. Whatever he has told them earlier, even in a meeting, even with the help of through a mail, he must get a feedback if he want to ensure the productive work in that particular institution. So, communication is a continuous process throughout the organizational life. As I have told you earlier, that it is a continuous process. It is just like a cycle that goes on and on. It is the basis of organizational functioning. Mentioning an old managerial proverb, no communication, no functioning of the organization. Next, communication is a complete and rational process. Only when the recipient of the message has understanding of the subject matter of communication. Communication is, in fact, a transmission of understanding from the sender to the recipient of the message, something which is an imperative requirement from the human relations perspective of communication. Only conveying your ideas, only by saying from one front, we cannot say that communication process has been completed. Until there will be understanding on the other person's part, right? So, communication usually is and ought to be a two-way process. This emphasizes on the feedback aspect of communication. That is, the sender of the message must get the necessary response or reaction of the recipient to the communication made to him. So, as I told you earlier, that until and unless the receiver will not respond, what was the motive of the sender? Until the receiver will not respond in that way, we cannot say that communication is complete. So, the feedback or response of the other part is must. So, next let us discuss the process of communication. Here you can see a diagram with labeling. You can see that sender, message and receiver are the main points. When a sender is thinking, when the sender is selecting the words in his own mind, that means he is encoding the message, and receiver will decode that message when he is trying to understand the information imparted by the sender, right? And after decoding that message, the receiver will give feedback back to the sender, right? So this is also a simpler diagram of process. You can see that sender encodes a message that goes through the channel to the receiver, and receiver will decode it and give feedback with a channel to the sender, right? And in between there is noise and barriers, right? So let us discuss in detail the elements of communication. The first one is referent. So what is referent? Referent can be any external motivator that gives a push to sender to speak. A referent motivates the sender or receiver to share information that may initiate communication. For example, a nurse citing a patient with difficulty in breathing may serve as a referent to the nurse promoting her to initiate communication with the patient. A patient is under observation and a nurse is observing him. Suddenly, what she saws, she is saying that the patient is breathing heavily. So, that scene will act as a referent. She will act immediately. She'll try to communicate with the patient, right? So, this is what referent is. The next is sender. The sender is a person who encodes and sends the message to the expected receiver through an appropriate channel. A sender is the source of the message that is generated to be delivered to the receiver after appropriate stimulus from the referent. So, the sender will encode the message, send the message to any particular receiver, any particular person with any particular channel, right? The next is message. The message is the content of communication. It may contain verbal, non-verbal, or symbolic language. Perception and personal factors of the sender and receiver may sometimes distort this element, and the intended outcome of communication may not be achieved. For example, the same message may be communicated or perceived differently by two individuals. So, the message is the main content of the communication. It can be verbal. It may include of speech sounds, gestures, symbolic form, but it also depends on the perceptions of the receiver. For example, I have two students with me. They are talking to me in journal manner. Suddenly, I got a call from my home. So, I'll ask them to leave. The one student who will take this message for leaving in a positive manner, but the other one may or may not understood in that sense. He must be hurt that why did I tell him to leave. So the perceiving of the receiver is the main thing here. It can distort your message, it can distort your aim behind the content, right? Next is channel. A channel is a medium through which a message is sent or received between two or more people. Several channels can be used to send or receive the message, that is, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting. While selecting channels of communication, several factors must be considered: availability of channel, purpose, suitability, types of receivers, types of message, preference of sender and receiver, communication skills of the sender, cost, etc. So, a channel can be of varied type, but a sender must select a channel carefully according to the availability and need of the receiver and his message. So, classification of channels of communication. First is visual channel. For example, your facial expressions, body language, posture, gestures, pictures and written words, electronic mails, mass media, etc. All these things can be seen by us. So these are comes under the category of visual channel. Next is auditory channel. Spoken words, sounds, telephone or mobile communications delivering audio content like radio, voicemail, etc. Those channels who have only audio messages, right? Next is tactile channel. Tactile channels are those which includes touch, sensations, therapeutic touch, etc. For example, some student of yours come to you and told you that he has scored very well in his examination, and in appreciation you have pat on his back. So that comes in touch sensation, right? Next is combined channel. Audiovisual media consoling a person with touch and spoken words. Receiver. A receiver is an individual or a group of individuals intended to receive, decode, and interpret the message sent by the sender or source of message. A receiver, also known as decoder. He is expected to have the ability and skills to receive, decode, and interpret the message. So, the receiver is also known as decoder, who is on the other hand of the communication channel. The next one is feedback. It is a return message sent by the receiver to the sender. It is most essential element of the communication process, as it shows that the receiver has understood the primary message sent by the sender, and the communication process is now considered complete. A successful communication must be a two-way process where the sender sends the message and receives feedback from the receiver. These feedback could be verbal and non-verbal. So, feedback must be there. Feedback ensures the successful deliverance of any message or any kind of information. Next, we have types of communication. People communicate with each other in a number of ways that depends upon the message and its context in which it is being sent. Types of communication based on communication channels used are verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Verbal will include speech sounds, and non-verbal can have gestures and body language. So, verbal communication, it refers to the form of communication in which message is transmitted verbally with the help of Speech. Communication is done by word of mouth and a piece of writing. In verbal communication, remember the acronym KISS. Keep it short and simple. Verbal communication is divided into oral communication and written communication. Oral communication. In oral communication, spoken words are used. You just use a speech. It includes face-to-face conversations, speech, telephonic conversations, video, radio, television, voice over internet. Communication is influenced by pitch, volume, speed, and clarity of speaking. Advantages: it brings quick feedback whenever you are talking to a person in person, whenever you are talking to somebody face to face, you will get quick feedback. In a face to face conversation, by reading facial expressions and body language, one can guess whether the other one should trust what's being said or not. When you are talking face to somebody, you can guess the correct attitude of what he or she is saying. We have another disadvantage of it also. The user is unable to deeply think about what he is delivering, so this can be counted as a fault. Sometimes when you are speaking fluently, sometimes you don't have time to give it a second thought, and by mistake a sender can speak something wrong, so this is also disadvantage. Next we have written communication. In written communication, written signs or symbols are used to communicate. In written communication, message can be transmitted via email, letter, report, memo, etc. Written communication is most common form of communication being used in business. In official setups, all the transactions, all the communication is done with the written communication. Everything is in record, because everything is in written form. So advantages are: messages can be edited and revised. Written communication provide record and backup. If you have a letter of something, that will be in record. A written message enables receivers to fully understand it and send appropriate feedback. If you have received any letter from anybody, then if you didn't understand something, you can read it again and again. You have plenty of time to understand that letter thoroughly. So this is the advantage of written communication. Also, it has some disadvantage. Written communication does not bring instant feedback. It takes more time to composing a written message as compared to word of mouth, and number of people struggles for writing ability. So the next is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the sending or receiving of wordless message such as gestures, body language, posture, tone of voice or facial expressions is called non-verbal communication. It is all about your body language. It is all about how you present yourself, how you use your eyes, how you use your facial expressions, even your hands also. It has 3 elements: appearance, your clothing style, your hairstyle, neatness, use of cosmetics, your surroundings, like what kind of room you are using, size of the room, lighting, decoration, furnishings, your body language, how you present your facial expressions, your gestures, your posture, even the way of your sitting, sound, the voice tone, the volume, the speech rate, everything comes in this section. So next we have barriers of communication. There are so many barriers which can distort the communication process. Environmental barriers can be there, like loud background noise can disturb the message, poor lighting, uncomfortable setting, unhygienic surrounding and bad odor, very hot or cold room, distance. If the room has all of these things or even one of these barriers, then your communication will not be successful. Your message will not be delivered successfully. It will be distorted, it will be disturbed by these factors. Psychological barriers are also the main barriers in this process, like misperception and misunderstanding, distrust and unhappy emotions, emotional disturbances, psychotic or neurotic illness, worry and emotional disturbances, fear, anxiety, and confused thinking. If any person is not stable mentally, if he or she is suffering from anxiety, even fever, even he is not happy, emotionally he is not stable, then he or she will not be receive or send the message properly. So these barriers are must to be solved, so that your communication process can be successfully completed. So this is all for today. I hope you all have understood the concept of communication very well. In our next YouTube video, we will discuss some more types of barriers and we will discuss how to overcome these barriers for a successful communication process. So that's for all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.